So here we have mainly the buffering system. So how buffering system works, we already discussed in a previous video that it neither adds the hydrogen ion, neither nor removes the hydrogen ion, but it buffers the system. How let us see. So it's a buffer, it's adding with the hydrogen ion. So this in turn forming an hydrogen buffer, and this hydrogen buffer will be a weak acid. So for example, whenever the hydrogen ion increases means there is acidosis in your body, then the reaction will shift to the right. So if the reaction shifts to the right, you can see it's holding the hydrogen ion in the buffer so that it is not releasing, so that this hydrogen ion concentration will be maintained. Whereas coming to in alkalosis, you can see the hydrogen ion will decrease in alkalosis. So in that case, the reaction try to shift to the left. So the reaction shifts to the left, you can see the buffer is releasing the hydrogen ion. So if the hydrogen ion is released, of course, it will lead to compensation of this alkalosis so that it will become normal. So for example, 80 milliequivalents of hydrogen is ingested, like you are eating some acidic food, or it is produced by the process of metabolism. But the normal should be only 0.004 in extracellular fluid. So you can see it's like a very huge amount, 80 milliequivalents. But here it's like nano, 40 nano equivalents. So nano, but it's milli. Then what happens? So if there is no buffer system, then your body may get for sure affected, because it's like lethal concentration for our body. For hydrogen ion is like 80 milliequivalents, it will be a lethal concentration. So this buffer system plays a major role in our body. Whatever the hydrogen ion comes, it immediately reacts with this buffer and immediately convert into a weak acid or some other substances. So this is how buffer system works. So the most important buffer in our body is bicarbonate buffer, HCO3 buffer system, mainly working in an extracellular fluid. So bicarbonate system is like, for example, weak acid, carbonic acid. How carbonic acid is formed? It is formed by reaction of water with carbon dioxide. In the presence of carbonic anhydrase, it leads to formation of carbonic acid. So this carbonic anhydrase enzyme is very much rich in lung alveoli, because in lung the carbon dioxide comes from the deoxygenated blood to exchange, and it is also seen abundantly in the epithelium of renal tubule, because in renal tubule also the bicarbonate is reabsorbed. So in this cases we can see this carbonic anhydrase, which main function is to convert the help in binding of water and carbon dioxide to form the carbonic acid, which is a weak acid. And this carbonic acid can in turn ionize into H plus ion and bicarbonate. So this is a weak acid, H2CO3. Why we are saying it's acid? Because it has hydrogen ion in it, and also it has a capacity to form a hydrogen ion. Now let us see another one, that is a bicarbonate salt like sodium bicarbonate. So sodium bicarbonate, it breaks down into sodium and bicarbonate. So you can say it is forming the bicarbonate, hence it's a bicarbonate salt, sodium bicarbonate. So these both are present in our buffer system of bicarbonate system. So both together, you can see if we mix both the reactions, carbon dioxide plus water gives a carbonic acid. Of course, this carbonic acid in turn have a capacity to break down into hydrogen ion and bicarbonate. Of course, this bicarbonate, if it binds with sodium, will get the sodium bicarbonate. So if you mix the both reactions, you will get this reaction. This is a buffering system. So strong acid like HCl is buffered by bicarbonate. So for example, HCl, in HCl we have H plus ion, right? That H plus ion, if it binds with bicarbonate, it forms again carbonic acid. This carbonic acid has a capacity to break down into carbon dioxide and water. This carbon dioxide is removed by lungs by expiration. And of course water gets mixed into extracellular fluid. And for example, if a strong base is mixed with the bicarbonate, so strong base like sodium hydroxide mixed with bicarbonate lead to formation of sodium bicarbonate with water, and carbon dioxide with water forms H2CO3. So if this H2CO3 bind with sodium bicarbonate, so this reaction is here, right? So if there is higher amount of bicarbonate and hydrogen ion, now this sodium, if binds with bicarbonate, it forms sodium bicarbonate with water. So if there is higher amount of bicarbonate, it is excreted by kidneys. So see, carbon dioxide is removed by lungs, whereas higher amount of bicarbonate is excreted by kidneys. So this is how a buffer system acts, either on acid or on base. You can see here neither it is adding hydrogen ion or removing hydrogen ion, it's just buffering the system. So according to Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, the pK is equal to minus log K. So the pK for bicarbonate buffer system is, the value is 6.1, very important to remember. And for example, if there is low bicarbonate means it is nothing but acidosis, metabolic acidosis. So this is regulated by kidneys. So whenever you see the bicarbonate, it will be regulated by kidneys. Whenever you see carbon dioxide, it is regulated by lungs. So if higher bicarbonate means metabolic alkalosis, so it is also regulated by kidneys. Whereas if you have higher amount of partial pressure of carbon dioxide, then it is called respiratory acidosis. So here you need to find out, whenever there is carbon dioxide, it is related with metabolic. Whenever there is bicarbonate, it is related with metabolic. Whenever there is carbon dioxide, it is related with respiratory system. So higher amount of partial pressure of carbon dioxide, it leads to respiratory acidosis, and of course it's regulated by lungs. And partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, respiratory alkalosis, of course it's also regulated by lungs. So till now we have discussed the two primary, the two defense system, because the first primary defense system is the buffer system, especially bicarbonate buffer system, and second line of defense is respiratory system. We are seeing how it puffs out the carbon dioxide, and the third line of defense is kidney system, which mainly removes the bicarbonate. We also need to see the process how it takes. We also have another buffer system called phosphate buffer system. So this plays a major role in buffering the renal tubular fluid and also intracellular fluid. So how it does, let us see. So the main elements here are hydrogen phosphate and hydrogen phosphate. So strong acid like HCl, if it is buffered, so mainly the strong acids are buffered by phosphate buffer system. So if it's buffered by sodium phosphate, then it forms sodium hydrogen phosphate with sodium chloride. This is a weak acid. So by buffering, the strong acid is converted into weak acid, and the strong base is converted into weak base. How? For example, sodium hydroxide binding with this phosphate buffer, it forms the weak base. So actually this pK is 6.8. So before we have seen the pK value of our bicarbonate buffer system is 6.1, whereas the pK value of phosphate buffer system is 6.8. But its concentration in extracellular fluid is very low, so less powerful than bicarbonate buffer system. But we have seen that bicarbonate buffer system is more evident in extracellular fluid, but this phosphate buffer system is low in the case of extracellular fluid, but it's very high in intracellular fluid. So but important in tubular fluid, because the phosphate is in higher concentration in tubules, so it has higher power to buffer. And also the phosphate concentration in tubules is very high, so that it decreases the pH and also have low pH when compared with extracellular fluid. So because of the low pH means like near to acidic condition, so the pK is near to the 6.8. So as in the tubules, in the renal tubules, the pK value is near to 6.8, here the phosphate buffer system would be best suited when compared with the bicarbonate buffer system. So remember, bicarbonate buffer system is best suited in a extracellular fluid, whereas coming to intracellular fluid and in renal tubules, phosphate buffer system acts well. So in intracellular fluid also the pH is low than the extracellular fluid, so here also the pK value is less, closer to 6.8. So this is about phosphate buffer system. Next, let us see, even proteins are also important buffers acting in intracellular fluid. The change in extracellular fluid also changes the intracellular fluid. So because of this, for example, we have hemoglobin, it's a protein, it's an important buffer. So hydrogen ion acids reacting with hemoglobin, they give rise to HHB. So 60 to 70% of buffering in the intracellular fluid and by intracellular fluid proteins, but hemoglobin does it, but it takes many hours of time. And intracellular fluid have a lot of proteins, and also their protein system pKs are also close to the intracellular fluid. So actually the intracellular pH. So once again let us revise that the bicarbonate buffer system is mainly seen in our extracellular fluid. Phosphate buffer system is mainly seen in our renal tubules, also in the intracellular fluid. But in intracellular fluid, this proteins like hemoglobin and different proteins, they play major role in buffer system. Now let us see the respiratory regulation of acid-base balance. So we are going to detail of respiratory system, how it controls the acid-base regulation. So whenever there is higher ventilation, means you are ventilating more, means you are removing more carbon dioxide from the extracellular fluid. That means the hydrogen ion concentration is decreasing, means you are ventilating more carbon dioxide is getting out, means it is leading to respiratory alkalosis. Whenever there is low ventilation means the carbon dioxide is accumulating in the extracellular fluid, means there is higher carbon dioxide in the extracellular fluid, means even the hydrogen concentration is increasing there. So if the hydrogen concentration increasing means it is leading to respiratory acidosis. So you can see as the hydrogen concentration is decreasing here means it's inversely proportional to pH. So pH will increase in the case of higher ventilation. So you can see that ventilation is like directly proportional to the pH. So as here the ventilation is decreasing, the pH also drops. So you can see the pH here in the case of higher ventilation you can see 7.63, whereas the pH here in the case of higher hydrogen concentration you can see low pH like 6.95. So the normal value of dissolved carbon dioxide in our extracellular fluid is like 1.2 mole per liter. So it's corresponding to PCO2 it's corresponding to like 40 millimeters of mercury. So if the hydrogen concentration is very high means it mainly it stimulates higher ventilation because more hydrogen concentration. So like it's respiratory acidosis. In respiratory acidosis higher ventilation will lead to more puffing, more carbon dioxide is expired out, so that hydrogen concentration will drop and pH will increase, so that it will lead to respiratory alkalosis. So whenever there is respiratory acidosis, the compensatory mechanism by respiratory system is to respiratory alkalosis. So respiratory buffer is greater than the chemo buffers in extracellular fluid, like our bicarbonate system, right? Than them, the respiratory buffer is having higher value. So impairment of lung function like emphysema, the surface area is decreased there, may build up the carbon dioxide in extracellular fluid, then it may lead to respiratory acidosis. So especially in emphysema you can see the patients having respiratory acidosis because the carbon dioxide is not able to get out from the body. And the renal control of acid base balance. Now let's see this. Now we completed respiratory. Now the renal is the most important because we are in renal physiology now, right? So by forming either acids or base in the basic urine. So if the bicarbonate in the urine, then the base is lost, of course. If there is hydrogen ion in the urine, then the acid is lost. So mainly non-volatile acids in our body are mainly removed only by form of our kidneys. So what are these non-volatile acids? Actually they are formed by means of our metabolic system. The metabolic waste is a non-volatile acids. It's like about 80 milliequivalents, and they also need to conserve almost bicarbonate reabsorbed. So conserving like a primary buffer system of extracellular fluid. So the secreted hydrogen ion react with bicarbonate. Actually, the bicarbonate gets filtered by means of our renal plasma flow. For example, this side you think it's a tubule of a renal plasma flow, and this is a cell. So you can see the bicarbonate is filtered out along with the renal plasma flow in our kidney. So this bicarbonate reacts with the hydrogen ion. Actually, hydrogen ion is secreted by means of a proximal convoluted tubule. So this hydrogen ion binds with bicarbonate to form the H2CO3. So H2CO3 is a weak acid, that is our carbonic acid. So now this H2CO3 before reabsorption, like 4320 liters of hydrogen ion is secreted to the and reabsorption of bicarbonate. So actually as the hydrogen ion comes out, the bicarbonate goes inside. We'll understand that procedure later, but we understand that first, as the hydrogen ion comes out into the lumen, the bicarbonate will be always reabsorbed finally into the peritubular capillaries and finally into the blood. So the hydrogen secreted is to get rid of non-volatile acids. So the total 4400 hydrogen secreted in tubular fluid each day. So you can see the lot of amount of hydrogen ion is secreted into the tubular fluid every day. So this hydrogen which is coming, it should be bound with this bicarbonate and converted this, so that then only it will get indirectly getting into the peritubular capillaries. So in alkalosis, less hydrogen is secreted, so less bicarbonate is reabsorbed. So actually in alkalosis conditions, alkalosis means what? Low amount of hydrogen ions. As low hydrogen ions is secreted, so even the bicarb which is reabsorbed also will be low. So increase in bicarbonate excretion, so lot of bicarbonate is excreted out, so increase hydrogen ion in extracellular fluid back to normal. So as the bicarbonate is now excreted more, as the hydrogen which is coming, it gets reabsorbed, so that it will lead to acid balance the alkalosis. So kidneys regulate mainly by secretion of hydrogen ion, reabsorption of filtered bicarbonate, and production of new bicarbonate. So all these are mainly the functions of kidney. So if you see this diagram, we can clearly understand. So actually this is a tubular lumen. Here the bicarbonate is coming, it's getting filtered from our GFR. So the bicarbonate which is coming, it is converted into carbonic anhydrous by mixing with our hydrogen ion in the presence of carbonic anhydrous. So it forms carbonic acid. This carbonic acid is further divided into carbon dioxide and H2O. So this hydrogen ion is coming from the cell by means of this sodium hydrogen counter transport. As the sodium goes inside, the hydrogen ion comes out, and by combining this both in the presence of carbonic anhydrous, the carbonic acid is formed. And this carbonic acid further divide into carbon dioxide and water. This water will get forming urine. This carbon dioxide gets into the cell. After getting inside, the carbon dioxide, inside the cell some water is present, so it again combines with water, and again in the presence of carbonic anhydrous it forms a carbonic acid. This carbonic acid in turn gets divided into hydrogen ion and also bicarbonate. And this bicarbonate, by means of sodium bicarbonate co-transport, it gets out into the interstitial fluid. From the interstitial fluid, it will go finally into the peritubular capillaries. We know the surrounding the proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule, we have the peritubular capillaries. So this peritubular capillaries take up this bicarbonate ion. So this is the actual process how the bicarbonate which has come is indirectly going inside, because you can see first it has formed. It can directly go, but it is undergoing some reaction. Again this carbon dioxide is going into the cell. Again it is binding with water, forming the carbonic acid. This is further getting divided. So like this bicarbonate is going indirectly into the cell. Secretion of hydrogen ions and reabsorption of bicarbonate occur in all parts of tubules except the descending and ascending thin limbs of loop of Henle. So except in loop of Henle, this bicarbonate gets reabsorbed in all parts of renal tubule. Especially this bicarbonate is reabsorbed mainly in our proximal convoluted tubule. So for each bicarbonate reabsorbed, the hydrogen must be secreted. So as we see in our diagram, as the bicarbonate is getting reabsorbed, the hydrogen ion must be also secreted out by means of this. You can see as the bicarbonate is getting into the cell, the hydrogen ion is secreted by means of this sodium hydrogen counter transport. So 80 to 90% of bicarbonate reabsorption and hydrogen secretion occur in our proximal convoluted tubule. So only some bicarbonate flow by proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, collecting ducts. So most of the proximal convoluted tubule is involved in hydrogen secretion and also in the bicarbonate reabsorption. In the thick limb of loop of Henle, only 10% of filtered bicarbonate is reabsorbed, and remaining reabsorbed at the distal convoluted tubule and also in the collecting ducts. So hydrogen which is secreted by secondary active transport in early tubular segments by mainly sodium hydrogen counter transport, as we have seen in the diagram. So the tubular fluid becomes acidic only in the collecting tubules and ducts, because as the hydrogen ion is coming out, it becomes acidic. So in the lumen, the carbon dioxide binds with the water in the presence of carbonic anhydrous to form the carbonic acid in the cell. And this hydrogen ion is further again secreted into the lumen by means of sodium hydrogen counter transport, whereas the bicarbonate moves across the basolateral membrane to the interstitium, finally reaching the peritubular capillary, entering into the blood. So net result, for every hydrogen which is secreted into the lumen, the bicarbonate also enters the blood. So this is like an equal mechanism. How much of hydrogen ion is secreted into the renal tubule, that much of bicarbonate is getting reabsorbed back into the blood. The filtered bicarbonate is reabsorbed by intercalated interaction with hydrogen in tubules. The bicarbonate in blood by sodium hydrogen bicarbonate co-transport in PCT, and chlorine bicarbonate exchange in the late segment of PCT, thick limb and collecting tubules and ducts. So here you can see in the starting part of proximal convoluted tubule, sodium and hydrogen are counter transported, whereas in the late part of PCT you can see the chlorine and hydrogen are co-transported. You see here the primary active secretion of hydrogen ion is mainly done by type A intercalated cells of the late distal collecting tubule and also in the collecting tubule, mainly by hydrogen potassium ATPase. So this hydrogen can make acidic urine with pH of 4.5 and excess hydrogen. So till here we have completed how the process has gone. Now for example, if there is excess hydrogen, so if excess hydrogen, then phosphate and sodium buffers in the tubule form the new bicarbonate. So for 80 milliequivalents of non-volatile acid, like 2667 liters of urine should be produced if the hydrogen is remained as free solution. But normally only 0.03 milliequivalents of hydrogen is secreted. So when there is higher hydrogen, like in acidosis, it is buffered by phosphate and produce new bicarbonate, and thereby increase the bicarbonate to replenish the loss of bicarbonate in acidosis. So you can see how our kidney system is acting so smartly, that as a hydrogen ion is very high, means in acidic conditions only our body will have higher hydrogen. So whenever there is higher hydrogen, you can see our body is buffering by means of this phosphate or ammonium buffers, and because of this actually there is, you can see, as high hydrogen ion, it is producing more bicarbonate so that it can make it more alkaline. So phosphate buffer, here mainly we have hydrogen phosphate and H2PO4. The pH is 6.8, wherever there is excess hydrogen, as bicarbonate completely combines with the HPO. So you can see whenever there is excess hydrogen, already the complete means bicarbonate has gone to saturation. There are no more bicarbonates now to bind with this hydrogen ion. So now what happens is the phosphate comes into action. So hydrogen now binds with hydrogen phosphate to form H2PO4, and it is excreted as sodium salt, that is sodium hydrogen phosphate with excess hydrogen. So if more excess hydrogen, it's buffered by ammonia, which is synthesis from glutamine from amino acids in liver metabolism. So 2 ammonia are released into lumen by sodium countercurrent, and 2 bicarbonate are reabsorbed. So you can see how smart our kidney system is. If more hydrogen is coming, there are no more bicarbonate buffer system. So now ammonia, first phosphate comes into action, later ammonia buffer comes into action. As ammonia buffer comes, you can see more 2 bicarbonate are reabsorbed, means it is leading to again maintaining the acidosis. So in collecting tubules, secreted hydrogen ion binds with ammonium to form NH4, and this NH4 is secreted, so new bicarbonate is added to the blood. So you can see whenever in the blood we have this phosphates and this ammonia, you can easily expect that there is higher acidosis in our body. Whenever there is higher acidosis only, as the bicarbonate buffer fails, that's why this ammonia, this phosphate come into action. This ammonia mainly comes especially in chronic acidosis. So in chronic acidosis, you can see higher ammonium excretion. So in this diagrams we can easily understand tubular lumen. Here this sodium phosphates are coming. This sodium phosphates is binding with this hydrogen to form sodium phosphates. So this hydrogen ion, this is not getting reabsorbed, so that this is excreted. So this again converts into carbon dioxide, water. So carbon dioxide come inside again, so that extra bicarbonate is reabsorbed. So here in case of ammonia, by glutamine amino acid, it forms this you can see ammonia, glutamine into 2 bicarbonates and 2 ammonia. So 2 ammonia getting excreted out, whereas this 2 bicarbonate are going in. So you can see why 2 bicarbonate are going in, because it's highly acidic condition, very highly acidic condition. So to prevent this high acidosis, 2 bicarbonate is sending back into the blood.